Beautiful. All right. Well, hey guys, how you going? As Julie said, I honestly would welcome any question whatsoever. There's no such thing as a stupid question, so please ask away if you'd like. So I'm Dave, and I'm 19 years old. I'm pretty much the reason why my mum Elizabeth and my dad Gary started the foundation back in 1999. When I was born with a hand difference, and they sort of noticed that there wasn't really a foundation around or a community for people with hand differences to sort of come together and meet and talk about, you know, what it's like to have a child with a hand difference and all the rest of it. So, 19 years down the track, I'm currently working full time, living out of home. I think I do pretty well with life in general. I don't really face many challenges regarding my hand difference. I'm very confident with myself, and I love doing things such as driving, and I've got a passion for cars. I do photography, and my full-time job at the moment is a sales rep for an electrical company, but I'm hopefully having a career change to go into some real estate stuff later in the year. So that's a little bit about me. Another one of my hobbies is obviously this. I love meeting other people with hand differences and sharing experiences and helping out and all that kind of stuff. And I play guitar as well. So that's just a little intro to me. I'll pass it over to Belle.
Hi guys. Hi guys, I'm Belle. I'm also 19. I was born with my limb difference. So my parents found out in utero that I was going to have one arm, well, 1.5 I guess. And so I grew up in a big family. I've got 4 brothers and I'm right in the middle. So I kind of got knocked around a little bit as a kid, but it was pretty good for me because I've developed a lot of resilience and I'm a pretty confident person. I also love doing this kind of thing. I first spoke just last year, was the first time I'd ever spoken at an event for the Royal Children's Hospital, which was really cool. And I've been involved in a lot of things, like I'm an AMP camp ambassador. I was on the steering committee at the Royal Children's Hospital, which was awesome as well. I'm at uni. This is my 2nd year of uni. I'm doing arts at Melbourne Uni, majoring in French and English literature. But my goal is to go into law. So post-grad, hopefully, if I can afford it. I'm still living at home, but I've had some awesome opportunities to travel and that kind of thing. I did French exchange when I was in year 10. I lived there for 2 months, and then I also went away to Europe last year, and then I'm going away again this year. I just have kind of your normal casual side job with uni. I work at a school uniform shop, so I get lots of little kids asking questions. So I'm pretty used to questions. Come at me. Other than that, pretty stock standard teenage girl, I guess. That's me. Cool.
Hi everyone, my name is Areeb. I'm a little bit older than these 2 youngies. I'm 27, turning 28 very soon in February. So I guess a bit about me. So I work in finance at the moment. So I graduated from high school, did quite well, and went to Areeb University where I did a double major or a double major and a minor called in finance and accounting. So that was pretty interesting. So that kind of set me up for my career currently. I got pretty fortunate in my career, so I did quite well, and actually was on a secondment to the US for the last 3 years. So got back in September. For me, growing up, the hand difference hasn't really been a thing, but it's really been taken into consideration by me. I just kind of live life, I think, presuming I can do everything. The only thing I can't do is go on the monkey bars. So, so for those kids out there, please do ask all your questions, because I think it's really interesting to meet other people with it. So growing up my entire life, I didn't really meet any peers with hand differences, and I only really got recently involved with Aussie Hands since I came back from the US, because I kind of developed a bit of a passion to kind of meet other people out there in the community and see what's taking place, but then also hopefully able to answer questions or influence some of the younger people in the rooms, just to kind of, there are options out there and it shouldn't really be a thing that holds you up. So please ask away. I know it looks a little bit scary if you're a kid, but I'm not, I promise. So fire away with questions, but I'll keep it pretty brief. So that's a bit about me.
Anyone's got questions. questions. I don't know if I should ask some first. If anyone has one. Yeah. Yeah. You're nodding, Matt. I can kind of get the ball rolling maybe. Although I did thought of a few things. I was gonna say, what approach did your parents take, like when you were growing up? Because sometimes, like, do they just treat you the same, or I don't know. Like sometimes people often talk about their experience of, you know, how they were seen in their family or their parents' perspective. So I don't know. Well, I don't know, Dave. I guess we can start with Dave. I don't know anything.
All right. Well, something that I've noticed is that there's generally two types of parents. There's those who want their kids to meet other people with hand differences and want their kids to get involved with events such as these and sort of embrace the fact that their child has a hand difference and stuff like that. And then you've got some parents who are in denial and they want their kids to feel as normal as possible. They'll avoid stuff like this because they feel like they're making their kids feel like they're abnormal or whatever. There's no right or wrong. You know, obviously everyone feels differently about
what
stuff.
was it like to grow up coming? Because you've come to Aussie Hands events all your life.
Yeah, well, that's right.
Do you reckon that was a good thing?
Yeah. Look, I never saw it as a negative thing. I think getting older, because I'm at that age of 19, as I sort of got a little bit older, they, you know, they became a little sort of less interesting, I guess, towards the end because, you know, it was just sort of, I went through a bit of a dead spot between probably 13 and 16 where I thought I was too cool for them and stuff like that. But now it's less about me and it's more about helping other people and showing the young kids that, you know, they're going to be fine. And that's why I love coming to these events now as a 19-year-old because I just love seeing little enthusiastic kids with hand differences and that, and I love showing them that, you know, as I said, they're going to be okay and there's nothing that they can't accomplish. So that's how I feel about it. And I did used to love coming to them as a kid, although sometimes it did feel to me like I was the spotlight was on the fact that I was different, you know, everyone's here today because I'm different. I was born different. Mum started the foundation that, you know, we're all gathered here because I'm different. But if you can turn that negative connotation into, well, yeah, I'm different, but that gives me the chance to help out other people that are similar, well then all of a sudden it's okay and I feel a lot better about it. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, it does.
So similarly, like, my parents were extremely supportive of me, but not too much, which was good, as in they didn't baby me or anything like that. So if I fell out of a tree, I got up. Like my brothers, it was fun. My dad sometimes was a bit enthusiastic. When I was like 4, he sent me down the slopes on a toboggan and I broke my collarbone, which wasn't that fun. But at least he let me have a crack, which was really good. So my parents never, I wasn't as involved with like the community when I was younger, and then at about 13 when I went to my first AMP camp, that's kind of when it all changed, and I found it was fantastic to be involved with other people, especially at that time as a teenager. Everything's changing in your life. It was nice to have a support system. And again, like, my parents never let me use the term disabled or anything like that because I don't feel that way, and I'm sure you don't feel that way about your kids. And I think that something that was really instilled in me is that whether you have one arm or 2 arms or 4 legs, I don't know, like, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has things that they're good at and things that they're not so good at. And so I never saw my arm as a negative. It was just, okay, so some things I do a different way. It takes me a little bit longer to learn, but I never didn't try. I've always been like very go get him, do all the sports, water polo team, all of that kind of thing. So I had a very awesome upbringing with my family. I was really lucky. So I would just try and as much as it's good to embrace. Well, I don't know what I'm trying to say actually, but just encourage your kids to just try as much as they can.
Have a go at anything.
Exactly. Exactly. Never make them feel like it might be a bad idea.
Actually, I should get you, although it's kind of breaking stuff up, but to tell us a bit about AMP Camp. Who's it for? How do people? I mean, even if it's down the track, that people can keep in mind.
AMP Camp's the best weekend of my year, every year. It's over Labor Day weekend and it's 4 days, and they sponsor all the kids between 12 and 18 to come. So there's no costs for the flights or anything. They'll fly you from. They fly us all from Melbourne. We had one boy who had to take a mail plane, a boat, and 2 other planes because he came from some remote region in the Kimberleys. And it's awesome. And so it's just about like giving you an opportunity, one, to do all like the camp stuff, like rock climbing and horse riding and that kind of stuff, because I think that some kids perhaps weren't, no one showed them that they could do it, and no one believed in them, and no one took the time at a school camp to say, we're going to get you up that climbing wall whether you want to or not, you know. And so it's really good in that way. And then also as you get a bit older, it's just awesome to have a support system there. Like my best friend, she lives in Tasmania, she has the same arm as me but on the other side, so we're kind of a mirror image of each other, and I met her through that, and we fly up and down. That's why I have a job, so I can fly to visit her. Up and down from Tasmania, and so it's just a really awesome weekend and very empowering, and you get so many opportunities out of it and so many friendships, so it's fantastic.
Yeah, it seems like it's been, and people continue on to become mentors like
Exactly,
yourself.
yes, so now
there's
that
a lot of cool people that are still going. So it's all different limb difference, but it's all supportive. Just have a go.
Exactly, and
Often,
they bring out prosthetists and OTs and chiropractors and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. And Matt's come before. He came to do an awesome presentation on all his limbs. Yeah, he's coming again. Yeah.
It's run by the New South Wales Amputee Association.
Yeah.
So if you want any information, we can help you link up to.
And feel free to come up and ask me about it, because
we're bringing someone out from the States this year too.
Oh, great!
Yeah, someone I met over there last year. He's, in the news in the last week, you might have seen a guy that's got 2 bionic arms.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the guy that did that surgery is coming out.
Okay.
So,
awesome.
Pretty good. It sounds like it's just got a really nice vibe.
It does.
I've got to say.
It's awesome.
About the vibe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Areeb. I'm
No,
going to take you back to the original question. I know.
Can I come now?
Yeah.
Well, you can. Like, I think it's also people that want to be mentors that are older that have got a limb difference. You can. There's an opportunity.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could do it. But, no, I think for me, just going back to that parenting point, my parents were extremely supportive. So I have an Indian background, so culturally there's a lot of differences. It was one of the biggest reasons my parents migrated out of India, because the hand difference is not really considered okay. But my grandparents were very fine with that as well. So my dad was very successful in India, but he migrated because of me. But I guess what I got out of that was every time I approach something, so I'm a bit of an introvert, now a very good fake extrovert, but basically every time I came across something and I felt challenged or really uncomfortable to do it, he would kind of go, well, you have to figure out how you're going to do it. So if I was to drive a manual car, I can't drive it the same way as everyone else, but there might be a way you can do it. And he always encouraged me to try to figure out things to do things my way. So he kind of said, and there's always a way to do stuff, but that's not always going to be the way you're going to do it. So you have to figure out what you're going to do to fit your needs. And I think for me that was probably the strongest thing, because there'd be times where the only thing I couldn't physically do, like I mentioned it, was the monkey bike, because you literally just stand there and be like, how are you going to do this? I'm like, I don't think I could do this. And I think he just wanted to say, like, look, there's some things you won't be able to do, but as long as you're comfortable with it, that's the decision you made. So I think as a parent, all you can really do is give your kids the best ability to succeed in life. I've never once felt they were trying to sugarcoat me or cover me from things. It was more me just doing that. And I think the sooner I probably realised that when I was about 14, 15, it was kind of like, look, I'm only going to be able to support you in life so far. You're going to have to make your decisions. You're going to have to figure out what you can do. And that was, I think, really empowering at the same time, but also just figuring out how I'm going to do stuff. Like now I'm 27 and so confident to do things that I think if I didn't have the same upbringing or support, I just wouldn't have given a go. So, and then like things like AMP camp, like that would have just been awesome.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I would have liked to have done it.
So I think,
because I never really got to meet people that looked like me ever, so it would have been nice. Particularly as a teenager, which can be hard.
But we all just make fun of people with all their limbs there.
Well, being in a room where you're not,
the one out.
yes, which would be, which is a bit.
No, I think it just would have been awesome, because I think like there'll be a stage in your progression as you get older and as an adolescent that you think you're too cool for these things, and I think it's just a bit of a curve. So you give them the opportunity to network and connect early, and then they'll go through that phase, and at least they can always go back to those friends and peers that they've developed. I think would have been because I literally, before I joined Aussie Hands, did not know a single person with a leg difference or a hand difference.
Yeah. Now you know lots of them.
Yeah, so now there's plenty. So I was like, oh, this is really cool for me. So
yeah,
that's I think how I would go about it. But obviously being a parent's difficult. So.
Yes. I wanted to ask you about bullying, because often people have questions about bullying, like a lot of parents. So I don't know if you did get bullied at school, maybe, and you felt that it was because of your hand difference. It could have been with something else.
Yeah.
and how you dealt with it if you did, or you may not have. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think I got pretty lucky. So I went to a public school. Didn't get bullied at all. I think in my entire life, there was only just one instance where I remember like actual bullying in my direction. But it was really funny because I felt at the end of it, all my friends and everyone stepped in,
Yes.
and I actually felt bad for the other person. I was like, is that correct? I was like, I think they were just being inquisitive, but came across as slightly cruel or rude.
Yes.
Yeah, so for me, I was very fortunate that I didn't get bullied. But I think now, for me, as a bit more of an adult, the toughest question is when you get a very inquisitive young kid asking you, well, what's going on there?
Yes.
So I now just basically say who wants to read it because I didn't eat my vegetables.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but
Well, often
that's
you
what
get,
I
I
say.
don't know if the kids feel like, sometimes I get bored of saying the same thing
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
I kind
You
of like,
gotta
I was
come up with
bored like that.
inquisitive
It seems
stuff.
so boring. So I have said some
Yeah.
stuff like that too when I was little.
So when I was in
Because
the
it just
US,
seems boring.
so when I was in the US, when I used to meet new people, I would just make up stories like
Yes.
an alligator ate it.
Yes, I used to say
Going
that.
back to the crocodile
Yeah.
the stingray shot me. Like, there's a lot of stuff I was coming up with. People like, are you serious? And I can keep a pretty good straight
But the
face.
humour thing can be good sometimes.
It
Good
is.
humour.
Yeah, and I think, yeah, if you come up with a bit of story, it kind of just shows, like, you're owning it. Like,
Yes.
you're not embarrassed by it. You're acknowledging it's there. Like, you can't miss it, especially if I'm wearing a t-shirt, you can't miss it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people I talk to will kind of say, actually, we don't realise you have a hand difference.
Yeah.
You do everything.
Yeah.
And it's only when someone new steps in or someone who's not used to it kind of goes, well,
Yeah.
so, and look, not everyone's comfortable with it, so I don't really force everyone to acknowledge it. Like, some people are just better left off not knowing about it, and that's a
Yeah.
small percentage. So they don't really impact my life, I don't impact their life, and we just go our separate ways. So.
Yeah. What about you guys? I don't know. You don't have to respond, but if there's a
Well, actually,
the bullying.
I'd like to ask for a show of hands in this room. Hand difference, no hand difference. Who's being bullied? And don't worry, it's a safe environment. So I'm not judging anyone. Who's been bullied? Okay. Now that's good. That makes a point that it doesn't matter if you got a hand difference. Doesn't matter if you're normal, whatever normal means. Because bullies are the sort of people that are going through a stage where they'll find anything about anyone to,
yes.
to have a go at. So, yes, I'll openly admit I've been picked on for my hand, but it was in a time where the particular sort of people, as I said, who were doing it were just looking for anything and anything that could be a laughing stock to them, or just just anything like that. I'm sure you're aware of that. People do it as an ego boost to themselves. It makes them feel better about themselves. There's a lot of reasons. I'm not going to go into the psychology of why people bully, but quite often it's because they feel insecure about themselves, and you'll find a lot in the adult environment, in workplaces and stuff like that, is when employees can put other employees down to make themselves feel better because they're insecure about themselves. So it happens in the adult world more than what you may realise, and I think bullying is just the kid equivalent of that. Really, it's just people feeling insecure about themselves and then having to give a hard time to someone else with something that's slightly different. So. When it comes to bullying, I've got a small story. There was a kid called Aiden. He bullied me throughout year 4, year 5, and he hated me all the way until about year 7. Then in year 7, things changed for me. I got rid of my daggy John Lennon looking haircut. My teeth finally got straight, and there used to be a big gap between my teeth where I used to be able to fit 50 cents in between. I finally got rid of that, and anyway, basically at school, everyone started to realise when I started high school, everyone started to realise that I was actually a nice person. Might have just been because I suddenly looked better or whatever, but I started to, become somehow attracted to females and stuff like that. So suddenly I went to being that, ugly kid with a hand difference to, I started gaining respect from everyone. And that sort of marked a big chapter, a big breaking point in my life where that kid, I actually left the school in year 9. I wanted to do a trade, so I left and went to a trade school. But on the very last day of year 9, because that kid Aiden who used to bully him, he was in the locker next to me, and I sort of just noticed to him, I noticed that he wanted to say something to me, he just couldn't get it out. And just to add, that whole year, he went from bullying me in junior school to practically kissing my butt that whole year. Every morning he used to be like, "Oh, good morning, Dave. How are you, mate?" He used to be very kind of, because all of a sudden I'd become, well respected throughout the school, and he, he didn't have anything to give me stick about. And I bumped into him in Moonee Ponds probably about two years later, and he just said to me, he goes, "Mate, I really wanted to come and see you on your last day, year 9, and just apologise for how I treated you, but," he goes, "I just couldn't do it, I couldn't find it." And he said, but yeah, and so now we're sort of become friends, and it just goes to show that these people aren't necessarily bad people. You might think that they're a really bad person. I'm not saying all of them aren't, but quite often it's just a stage, and as you get older and you sort of, you find your own identity a bit more, and everything changes. You get older, you get more mature, and so do they. Things generally change, and those kids won't have a reason to do it anymore. So that's just my personal experience, and I hope it helps if there's anyone who's going through a hard time at the moment. But just quickly to mention before I hand over to Belle is that I actually mentor for Aussie Hands. I like talking to kids who are having any trouble, and I know it might seem embarrassing, it might seem hard to come out, but please, I encourage anyone, if they ever have any trouble with anything at school, they don't know how to react, or they don't know how to deal with a situation like that, I'm more than happy to have a chat to you. I love to do it because obviously I've turned out okay. I've told the story about how things change, and I'm sure I can help out to the best that I can. So yeah, please, if anyone wants to contact me, I'm pretty sure my contact details are on the Aussie Hands website. Yeah. So yeah, please come forward if need be. Even if some parents want to contact me about that too, okay. I'm more than happy to have a phone call, or Skype call, or anything like that. So.
Thanks, Dave.
No worries.
So I never experienced consistent bullying of any sort in school. I went to an all-girls high school, which was fun, and bullying was in different ways, not about my arm, but other things. I only had one experience that really upset me, I guess. It was when I was in year 7, this girl, year 8, must have been so cool. She walked past me and gave me a shove and said, "Oh, that freak with one arm," and I was like, So that made me pretty upset, and I was just a little year 7, I think it was the first 2 weeks of school. I went home and had a little cry to Mum, and then we got an email that night from a amputee newsletter. I think it was one of the Limbs for Life ones or something, and they wanted me to write a article for it, which was quite good timing actually, because I really had to sit down and think about how I felt about myself, especially after that situation. And I realised that after that, how someone thinks about you doesn't reflect on who you are. It doesn't change you at all. Someone can think you won't be able to do something. Someone might think you're not pretty enough, you're not smart enough, but it doesn't change who you are. It only changes how you're going to relate to that person. You can distance yourself. And so I realised that girl thought less of me because I had one arm, but that doesn't mean I think less of me. I think I'm great. And so that was awesome, and I was able to write that article. I remember getting emails from mums of especially little girls and that kind of thing who were dealing with confidence going into school and that kind of stuff. Just being like, "Thank you so much, that's what we needed to hear, that's what my girl needed to hear." And after that time, anyone who ever doubted me, I went on the super nice attack, and I would just be even more friendly to them, and not let it show that anything would get to me at all, which I thought was really important. And even now, especially, one of the things that I really like to do is, because I work in a school uniform shop, so there's a lot of little kids who come in and ask, and a lot of the time their mums will be like, "Oh no, don't say anything," and that kind of stuff, to try and distract their kid. And I always make a point of going up and explaining, because who knows if that kid's going to be the bully to someone like me, or just someone not like me in any circumstance. So I always make a big point of going up and being like, "Oh, it's just like how you have blue eyes and I have brown eyes, some people have one arm, some people have two," and just try and make it seem like a natural part of human variation and that kind of thing. Because if we start young and we are able to help kids learn and that kind of stuff, which is something I'm really passionate about, bringing up a community that's just going to be supportive and understanding. And so that's something that I really try to do to avoid other people getting bullied, is just be proactive about it and just go and speak to people and just let people know. And like before I started primary school, I know my mum went into the school and spoke with some of the other parents who also had their kids going into prep and said, if your kid comes home and is like, oh, there's a girl in one arm in the class, if you just treat it if it's normal, your kid will treat it as if it's normal, because kids aren't malicious. And so that's just, I think, a good way of dealing with it. So no, bullying was never really a problem with me because I just didn't let it change how I feel about myself, which is obviously easier said than done, but you develop a thick skin. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you for sharing about that, because I know it's always a big thing. Bullying thing. We had a question.
Yes, from Petra. Perla, I said Petra. Perla, there is a Petra, but there's Perla too. What was your question, Perla?
How do you tie your shoelaces?
That's a good question.
Do you want to demonstrate?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah.
Oh, we're all doing it. I'm doing my shoelaces.
Which I often like because everyone does it kind of differently.
Yeah, a little bit different. Yeah.
Right.
Shall we wait till everyone?
I'm going to sit on the floor.
Yeah, no, I'm keen too.
The shortest one. Yeah.
I think the mechanics.
Can everyone see? Yes.
Yeah, mine's different.
So did this take some time? I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, well,
learning.
I shared milestones with my youngest brother, and he's like 3 years younger than me, so it took me a little bit longer, but that's also because I was a bit lazy. So I probably could have learned sooner. But I remember me learn to ride a bike at the same time and do our shoes at the same time and that kind of thing. But I just kept trying, the same with tying my hair. And
Yeah, I was going to say the hair.
yeah, I can
Because
do
I
my
know
hair
for
as
girls,
well,
often that's a really important thing,
Yeah.
and it can take time to do your
Yeah.
hair, and it can be frustrating.
Exactly.
To
And
do it right.
everyone does it differently. Like I have friends
Yes.
with the same limbs and many who do it completely different ways. But would we like, do you want to see? Yes.
Yeah, because you don't use anything? Because I know there are some things
Well,
you
yeah,
can
there are
get.
those
but
things.
If you don't mind, because often people are very...
Well, I can do it two ways. One that only requires my hand, and then one that requires
Yeah.
also. So if I'm doing like a high thing, flip down,
These are often the questions that people want.
and then kind of try and like gather it all with my hand.
Yeah.
Flip up, and I wrap it around my stump to like get it secure, and then it's kind of hard to explain. I don't know. I just do it, but
It's like mechanical.
yeah, exactly. And then because I've got
Yeah.
a nubbin, I can use that to hook like the hair tie.
Yes, I've noticed people use nubbins for their shoelaces and stuff too. If you have them, I've noticed that
I
they're...
don't know what that looks like, but it looks pretty good. So that's that way. But if you've only got like the one, I can't do it up high, but I can do a low ponytail with one hand. I'll turn around so you can see. So I put my hair tie around my hand like that, and then grab my hair, and then flick under. If it's gonna work today, let's
It's
see.
always tough when you demo.
I know, yes.
You can do it 100 times correctly,
Yeah.
or 100 times.
And then it's like a low bun kind of thing.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you showing, because often I don't know the girls, that's often something that we get asked about, so...
I think for me the biggest thing is don't shy away from your kids having shoelaces.
Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
my dad and mum for the longest time didn't find me
Velcro?
shoes with, well not even Velcro, but just slide-ins.
Oh yeah.
And then when I went to the business professional world, all my shoes were slide-in leather shoes,
Yeah.
which is great. But then I really started liking a lot of the like lacy
Yeah.
shoes because they just look so much nicer. And so I think it's just like, you know, from day one or as early as you can, if you tie shoelaces every day, it makes no difference when you get older.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine's pretty similar to Belle's. So I just start, pull it, and then if you've got fingers or nubs, it's pretty easy. But you kind of just want to do what works for you. But you pull. So there's the cantilever. Then you make a story, right? So you make one rabbit ear. So you pull it. You make one rabbit ear. You make the second rabbit ear after looping it around. So there's one rabbit ear. You loop around the first rabbit ear to make the second rabbit ear. And then you go. You got 2 rabbit ears. And there you go. Shoelace done.
Never thought you were going to get applause for doing that.
I never knew I was going to use my rabbit ear story. Pretty pumped with that.
I know.
Pretty huge.
Because that's what I was thinking, is there anything that people are surprised that you can do? Like, do people expect, I don't know.
Yeah, touch type. I touch type at work.
Yeah, see, I touch type too, and people are
Like,
surprised.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
can like type probably 90, 95 words per minute, which
Yes.
is
That's pretty good. So not looking, just
well, the average
Pretty
person
much.
types at about 40 to 50.
yes.
The average office person might go 50 to 60 to type at 95s. But they're just like, often people just be like, I don't want to bother you because you're typing so fast. And then I'll be looking at them typing and be like, now I'm just really confused, what are you doing? Just talk to me. So
Yeah.
that's probably one thing. And then I can drive a manual, but I can't drive it in Australia, so I can drive with paddle shift. No, I'm not legally allowed to drive a manual.
Is that because of the steering wheel being on the other side?
Well, because it's
Yeah.
on here and then I can't change.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'm getting a prosthesis because nothing should hold you back from what you want to do. So
Yeah.
getting a prosthetic made at the moment to let me drive
To
manual
help drive.
cars.
Yeah, I know Dave drives a manual car. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Dave's got the left hand
Yeah.
shift, right?
Yeah, it'd be a different story in America. But
Yeah.
I was driving manuals in the US. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I just came from America for a holiday, and I didn't give it a go. I purposely, when I drove a car, I drove an automatic because I just didn't want to bother. I didn't know what it was going to be like. I just didn't really want to risk it, I guess. But I will show you how I tie shoelace. I don't feel like as much of a hero as these two because I've actually got a hand, or half of one anyway. But basically, what I'll do first, I'll demonstrate how quickly I can do it, because I think what sort of impressed me when I started doing it was just sort of how quickly I can do it, and then I'll sort of demonstrate how to do it. So I just make as tight as possible, obviously do that, sort of just come around like that, up it around and done, just like that. So if I sort of explain that, so obviously you got to do your crisscross to start off with. I grab it like that, use this hand to make a loop, pinch with that hand, bring that up around, so I'm sort of wrapping it around there, and then doing it like that. And then obviously I'm still holding that. If I want to do a double knot, just quickly do that. Whoop. Kind of, there we go. So yeah, that's how I do mine, and it's a cool story. And Mum reminds my brother Mike, who's 21 going on 22, he's older than me. He actually learned how to do his, how many years after?
The year after.
Yeah, I was really like Belle. I was a really determined kid. I sort of wanted. I think people with hand differences or anything like that want to prove to the world that that we're real determined and we can do everything. And I think that just made me really determined, wanting to do it quickly and that. So that's.
And with the shoe tying and hair tying, I have I've done slow tutorial videos of how I do that.
We'll have to get them from if you don't
or
know.
even putting in earrings and doing up necklaces, which isn't what you'd necessarily think, but it can be a little bit.
Yes, but they're often the
learning
things that
curve.
become really important
exactly,
and really frustrating.
And
so.
buttons and all that kind of stuff. So if
We'll have to get them from
needs,
you.
just get your
Exciting.
Yeah, and I'm currently in the midst of producing a video of how I tie and also driving a manual.
Yeah, because yes, you drive and yes, you drive a manual.
That's right. So
you will drive.
Yeah, I've got two cars. One's a bit sporty. That's the manual. I don't really drive that much anymore. That just sits in my garage gaining value. The other one is it's just my daily car, which is an automatic, which I just use to cruise around town because the manual one's fun for bringing it out on the wide open road. It's pretty quick, so and it's very thirsty. So city traffic doesn't like my wallet doesn't like that. But automatic's alright because it's just easy. It's like driving a big go-kart basically.
Yeah.
It's I don't really look at it as the easy way out because I do drive manual as well. It's just bit of both's okay.
Yeah.
So
Are there any other questions? Yeah.
Can I make a comment on the shoe tying? Because I think that's it's one of those it's such a normal thing. And I've noticed with Cassie, I've been doing her shoes for years, but one of the things is the internet has been amazing. And so she's actually come with more ways of tying shoes than you probably stick at and mastered all these different ways. And I only have one way. And I think it's really, I think it's great.
There are a lot of good,
there are.
they're a bunch of YouTubers and that kind of stuff, but with limb differences.
Yeah.
Some really funny ones as well. So there's a lot of resources.
Yeah, I think that has made a big difference.
Yeah.
And just to be able to try it, it may not be your thing, but to see what they do, give it a go. So you wouldn't have to get Cassie to make some too, then if you've got different ways of.
Well, I only get Dad to tie my shoelaces because he does it super tight.
Yes.
Those big muscly arms.
You must look daddy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I'm withering away though, darling.
Still got a few more years.
Thanks.
I think the only thing I can suggest is, so I recently went down the pathway, NDIS pathway of getting the prosthesis, and I didn't know that there was actually a lot of attachments out there that could actually just benefit everyday life. Like allegedly there's this clamp where I can I'm always spinning lids like this, grabbing it to my chest and then causing that friction to lock in and then spinning it, which actually, talking to OTs, actually has a lot of upper wrist issues later in life. So there's all these little things you can do around the house without knowing until you talk to someone. Because they can clip it and you can spin it.
Yeah.
These are little things I
I
know.
always get food on myself because
Yeah.
if I'm trying to open a
Yeah.
door, I'll have my coffee there.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I do
TV
that
all
too.
day, kind of
Great.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I've got my suit on at work and I don't want to hold my water bottle, which is wet because it's kind of cold.
Yeah.
And then now you've got a little stain here, it just looks dumb. But,
Yeah.
it's just little things there's attachments out there that you can, I've never thought about, but the
Yeah.
internet's a really good start.
Yeah.
But my friends always forget withholding stuff. They'll will go got ice cream and they need to do something. Oh,
Yeah.
can you hold them? I'm like, no, mate. I've got
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Because people do. I mean, there's we're a lot more than there's a lot more to us. you
Yeah,
know,
which is
so
nice. All of my
people
friends
forget.
say they forget that I have a limb difference.
That's when you get on.
Yeah, and if someone is mean to you, the other thing to remember is in some situations they're not worth your time. It's a good bad person detector.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
people who are friends with you are going to be awesome people, and that's the majority. It's the good majority. Yeah.
Yeah, I always used to be worried about, what sort of woman would want to marry a guy who can't even hold their hand properly. But the reality is, mum told me a girl that wants to spend the rest of your life with you, they're not going to care if you got a hand difference, and if they do, they're not worth your time. And that goes for both genders as well. People who care about that sort of stuff are just shallow.
Yeah.
They're the sort of people who put on their Tinder profile, I don't date people under 6 foot. So, just shallow. It's shallow. So you just don't bother.
I shouldn't admit to it, but my Tinder profile says personality 10 out of 10, arms 1 out of 2.
I like it. Well, I think a lot more people now are just putting it out there. It's that whole thing of, it's part of who you are, be proud. It's not a bad thing. We're different, but it doesn't mean that that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So you just put it out there, own it.
Yeah, and it's also that it's a part of who you are. It's not who you are.
No,
Never
it's just
anyone
a part of
define
who you
as
are.
the amputee kid, because you're
No.
not. You are artistic, creative,
Yeah.
smart, all of those things
Yeah.
before, and it's just a part of you.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I just ask one question? So we're obviously school kind of age. So when you do or did have those low years, for example, what was one of the most important things that you probably took from that situation? What was the thing that got you above that feeling of being in a low?
Because you can have some hard times. I remember that, when someone said something nasty or...
For example, the bullying day or whatever. What was that one thing that got you above that kept you going? Things that your parents said to you or your friends or...
Yeah, probably my parents were a lot to thank for just, words of wisdom, coming home and just having them say things like, they're just jealous of your day, don't worry about it. And that was temporary, stuff like that would make me feel good, but then I'd go back the next day and I'd just feel as low again, But I think the bigger picture is just, I've always said being positive doesn't mean being happy all the time. It just means knowing that everything's going to be okay. I always just knew that everything was going to be okay eventually. No matter how long it was going to take for things to stop and all that, I just counted it. I just had a bit of trust in the universe, pretty much, that it was just everything was going to be okay. I think it's just being happy with yourself and I think Belle was a great example of that. She was saying she's always happy with herself as a person, so that's very important. I actually wasn't. I thought of myself what the bullies thought of me. I let that get to me. I don't think everyone will have that problem, so that's why I'm saying it varies a little bit from person to person, and obviously you had that self-confidence back then. I didn't like the way I looked, so that played a big part in it. As I said, once I got to year 7 and I tidied myself up a bit, and you know, puberty was just the best thing that ever happened to me. Then things changed a little bit, and I just didn't worry about that anymore. So yeah, as I said, a big breaking point for me was the start of high school. I think for me, the ages it was the worst was probably around 11. Yeah, probably around 10, 11. But as I said, it's different for everyone, and the best advice I can give you as a parent is, you know, make sure that your kid feels like they can talk to you about it, because I know that, you know, we live in an age now where bottling things up is very dangerous. So if you notice little differences and stuff, just take that seriously, but you know, you got good looking kids, I'm sure they'll be fine.
What do you think, Belle? I don't know if you're
I was extremely close to my mum, and I still am to this day. And we been very lucky in that I know that a lot of girls and their mums have a bit of a struggle around teenage years, and we definitely did, but we were pretty good for the majority of it. And I know that she's always someone I can talk to, and always someone who will make me feel better, because I trust her very deeply, and we trust each other. And so she always just would say, I understand. It's also important to acknowledge how your kid is feeling, and just be like, I get why you're sad, that's upsetting. But you are bigger than this, and you'll go beyond this.
I know that's hard for parents, to be, that's hard. It's hard to see your kids hurt and to be in that space with them, but if it's important, as well to...
And then also, one of my younger brothers, he got bullied a bit at school, and he didn't have any limb difference or anything like that, and so my mum was doing the same thing for him. So it just goes to show, hopefully your kid, we hope that they won't have any more experience of bullying because of their limb difference. And I also was very close to my grandfather as well, and that was nice having kind of both.
I think having people in the world that think you're okay and you know they're okay. Whether it's some friends or it's a couple of friends or a place that. And
if I was a bit low, we'd go to watch a movie or go get ice cream and that kind of stuff. Just take your mind off it, because then you're a happy kid again.
It's the things that you love.
Exactly,
I think my only addition is if you have a sibling, I think they play a very big part. So I've got a younger sister who's 6 years younger than I am, so we never went to school together. But I'd always go to my parents, but her first solution would be, can you beat the kid? Can you beat him? And she's like, if you get in, so this is her rationale, 6 years younger, just smarty. If you lose, you beat up a one-handed kid, so you won. You beat him.
But also you can tell us what she does now.
So, and then I guess the inspiration is she's doing prosthetics now, so she's doing prosthetics. So, she's trying to get in.
But I think siblings often are very protective.
So I think parents are very good in terms of, but I think parents overplay situations in their head. They're always thinking what's the worst, whereas
the parents want to go and beat them up.
Correct.
When you hear something, you do.
Which is not the right solution. Whereas
but you want to.
Whereas with a younger sibling, it was very clear, because she was just kind of saying, look, okay, you've got an issue, you're going to have to deal with it. And at her age, it was pretty impressive, because she's like, you're going to have issues in your life, you have to figure out what's going to work. Her solution wasn't the greatest idea,
and perspective is important
perspective is very
My
important.
eldest brother has autism, so that was a very different dynamic, because about 3 months after I was born, my parents found out that he has autism. And with a big family of 5, you just realise that your experiences obviously are very important, but getting perspective about this is my situation where there are so many people, and I think that one part of being an amputee is I think we're quite an empathetic group of people, which is nice.
I think we are.
And you develop empathy, and you understand that we have struggles, but so do other people, and that's a good thing to remember. Because if you make it all, woe is me, my life is so hard, it's not going to be helpful. So perspective is important as well.
I think I often hear from Elizabeth might agree from the parents that their kids are quite empathetic or have that, because you kind of understand how it is to be a bit different. And even though someone has a different sort of difference, you kind of get what that feels like in some way. So
And I think that empathy thing is very common with upper limb difference people. If you ask me, or when I get asked how do you feel about it, I'm glad I don't have a lower limb difference, because that would affect everyday life. As weird as that sounds, so I think that empathy points you by that. So.
Any final questions? I don't know where the time is, although you guys will probably hang around for a tiny bit after if you want to.
I thought someone wrote one in here.
We did have some. We had what football team?
Richmond Tigers.
Yeah, look, it's not really that. I'm not that.
Not a footy.
I
Not
go-
everyone's into footy.
I go for Essendon, but that's just because like the rest of the family doesn't. Whatever. It's not that exciting.
Depends what footy you follow, because there's 3 codes.
Yeah, we're all different.
I prefer
Yeah.
playing it than
American
watching.
footy, Australian footy, football, women's footy.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say, although it's a bit, like, I don't know, a bit out there. You can make it as big or small as you want. I don't know what you want to do in the future. You know, what sort of things do you see yourself doing? They can be everyday things, or I don't know.
Well, I'm sort of on a bit of a journey at the moment with my work to become quite successful. I sort of, I see a life in the future where I can be financially independent enough to actually, my dream is to start a bit of a business within Aussie Hands actually to teach people with hand differences how to drive. My dad's a teacher, so I love teaching, but driving's my passion, so I sort of want to be able to eventually do something where I'm not doing it for money, I'm just doing it to help out people who want to drive. I know, Belle, at the moment you're having a bit of trouble with the whole, getting your license sort of thing, and I know for a lot of people it's a very difficult thing, and if I can be someone who can assist with that, that'd be really fantastic. So I've just, thanks to a bit of help from my parents, I've just bought my first house, which is going to be a great investment, I'm sure. So I love working hard. And I'm trying, this year I've got a business partner who I'm going to be doing some entrepreneurial stuff with, and hopefully, as I said, having a bit of a career change. So I'm sort of looking to become successful enough that I can not, because as you get older, you realise time is more valuable than money. Money comes and goes, but time just keeps blazing by. You get older, and I want to be at a stage where I've got more time. And I don't have to worry about money, and therefore I can put time into helping people, not to get money, because obviously I don't want to be struggling. I want to be financially independent enough to do this thing to help people on the side. So yeah, that's something that I'd like to do, to pursue in the future.
Well, I mean, even today, I appreciate your giving back and doing that too. You like spending time doing this, so
it's a pleasure.
I have a question for you, Dave.
Sure.
How did you work out at 19 that time is more important than money?
When you don't have a mother around to do your washing, your cooking, to make your bed, to do look, I moved out when I was 18.
Dave, the quicker we stop doing that stuff, the better it is.
yeah.
Let them live a little bit. No, look, our family home. What's that?
You used to do your own.
Yeah, I know. I'm just taking. But so look, I was 18 when I moved out of home. I actually was busted to move out. My parents sold their home actually. Yeah, about a few months after I moved out, so that wasn't what made me move out. I just always wanted to move out and be independent. I'm the sort of person that always wants to be doing things by myself, and I believe that a lot of that's actually to do with the fact that I was born with missing fingers. It's that determination. I love being my own man and doing things for myself. And yeah, as I said, throughout the last 12, 16 months living out of home, I've just really discovered that time is scarce when you're living full time, when you're working full time, and you're trying to, I was trying to save up for some stuff at the start of last year. I went and did some pizza delivering in my spare time, made a fair bit of money from doing that, but I had no time. A day was basically, up early, and then I'd come home from work, I'd go to my next job, I'd get into bed, I'd have to make my lunch, make dinner, all that sort of stuff. I'd be in bed by about 10:30, and I've just realised that, time, you've got to make time for your family. Your family aren't getting any younger and all that sort of stuff. So it's just the people that you want to spend time with. Well, it's scary to think like this, but social media is great for it. It really because you see pictures like a screenshot of something that says, for instance, your incoming call coming from your mum, and it says one day you won't be able to see that anymore, and it really makes you realise that time is scarce and it's running out, and you should cherish all the time you get to spend with your family and those ones close to you who you love. So That's
good
what
good
I just,
advice, Dave.
yeah, I really want to, as I said, work hard while I'm young, and I've got the energy to eventually become.
But it's nice that
financially
you're,
independent.
like, throughout that you want to do stuff with Aussie Hands or be able to do things that
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate that.
hanging out with the kids and
As I said, look, there's just the last thing I'm going to say is that, as you all know, I got bullied. I didn't really have anyone there for me at the time who was, who I could relate with or who got bullied. So I sort of, with my mentoring, I try and be that guy that I never had. So that's why I like doing it, and that's probably
Yeah.
my main motivation to want to help out
yeah,
people.
which is great. So thanks, Dave. And Belle, I don't know, it sounds like you've got lawyer things in
Well,
place.
yeah, so as I said, I'm looking at doing postgraduate law, but my focus with that is trying to change some of the legislation that is going against us, especially in Australia, but also internationally, which is with my languages. I speak French fluently and I'm learning Spanish.
Wow.
Yeah. So, for example, speaking about my difficulties with driving, that's not been that I can't drive, it's that there's a bunch of roadblocks in the way of me getting my license. So for when I was 16 and I got my L plates, I had to do a OT test. And I understand why that's necessary. We want to make sure everyone's safe on the roads and that kind of stuff. But some of it was a pretty humiliating. It was like, how fast can you turn around in a circle? Can you join the lines between A to Z on this page? And I was like, what has that got to do with my driving capacity? Because currently they're using the same test for roads that they use for people who've had strokes, people who have heart attacks and all that kind of thing, trying to get back on the road. And as a healthy 16-year-old, that wasn't great for me. And now I'm having to do it again to get my P plates.
Okay.
And this hasn't changed in 20 years, so I don't know why that's necessary. So that kind of thing is something I'm looking towards having impact on.
Yeah.
And also, from experiences of getting to travel, I am aware that we are very well off in Australia in terms of limb difference and that kind of thing. For example, when I was in Barcelona, because I went there because I'm studying Spanish last year in June, and I was walking with my friends, and there was a woman on the street that had missing her legs, and she was homeless on the streets. And I went up to her, and in my very broken Spanish, I was like, "What can I do?" And she said, "There's nothing that you can do." And it really broke my heart. I was very shaken by that. And so I really have a strong desire to be able to impact that in some way and put practices in place that are respectful of our human dignity, but also facilitate our capabilities to the best that we can be. And in many circumstances, that's just not realistic. We're very well off in Australia, I do know, but especially in other countries, it's something that I would really like to have an impact on. And I think that law for me is going to be the best way to access that. Yeah, so that's my goals in terms of career and that kind of stuff. But that's also just a life choice, and like that's the kind of life I want to have. It's not just a job, it's something that I feel really passionate about. And again, having a brother with a cognitive disability, that's like a whole nother level of things that I'd like to also be able to help out with, because I know he's an amazing boy and has had a lot of barriers in his life too, and they're just the kind of things I'd like to be able to influence. So that's me.
Well, that sounds like really great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, this is amazing to hear these things from 19-year-olds. Feel old. Yeah, mine's probably kind of similar. So in terms of personal, with the prosthesis, I kind of want to do archery, driving manual cars. I love cars. So the fact that I can't drive my vehicle on a sports track legally in Australia drives me up the wall.
Yeah.
My big road story, also similar to you guys, was frustrating because I did my regular test. I could drive. Literally, I was like ready to do my manual test, and then the attendant at Vic Roads on the day of my P test kind of goes, "Oh, you can't do this test." I'm like, "Why not?" She's like, "You have to get all these list of approvals, which I've never heard of before." So as an 18-year-old seeing being told I can't do this was like really frustrating. But then I eventually got my license and everything was fine. But for me, it's probably some of those in terms of using the prosthetics. So like lifting at the gym, so I have a huge difference between my right and my left.
Yeah.
Which can have labor implications in life. So got ambitions to kind of lift a bit more professionally. But then for me, like in terms of my work placement, I'm kind of a manager at where I work, and that organisation, the CEO just won an award because his kid has autism, and our employer is going to be the first employer in Australia to give kids with autism, or young professionals, I should say, not kids, but young professionals with autism who've got a full university degree to actually have a place to be employed. So I'm very passionate about stepping into a space which doesn't really have, I think at the moment, leaders visible to people with hand differences or any kind of differences. And I think I'm in that fortunate position where if I start doing a bit of my homework and kind of put myself in those positions, I can hopefully, get onto boards or, obviously Aussie Hands is a great start as well, but just kind of continuing to move and understand how I can link some of those government places with the professional environment we have with organisations doing stuff like that. So it's obviously not a 1 year thing, this is a 10, 15 year project, but my ultimate ambition is to kind of hopefully be like a leader in the community, which that's actually that person has a hand difference, and the kids that have kind of come up and go, oh, I know that person.
Yeah, and I think how important that is representation is.
Yes.
That, you know, whether you see yourself on the telly, you don't really get to see yourself, you
Yeah.
know, like actors or people in the business world or sporting world or whatever it is, it's really important.
Yeah, so for me that's a really big driver, and that's the reason I joined Aussie
Yeah.
Hands recently, because like I said, I didn't have any insight into this, so I think I'm just really well placed to hopefully one day achieve that, and even if I don't, at the end of the day, you try it. That's all you can do, is that, you know, that's my ambitions for the next couple of years.
Good on you.
Well, thank you so much to each of you and being, you know, so honest with your words and open as well. And I'm very actually impressed. I've got to say, like it's been really nice to hear your stories, and I'm sure everyone would feel the same. So I may want to capture you later after this and ask you something as well. So thank you for coming. I've got a little something I'll give to you as well for saying thank you for coming.